In this hour of Yizkor, recent and distant losses, our love and longing for our dear ones come sharply into focus. We remember them now, fathers and mothers, husbands and wives, life partners, grandparents, brothers, sisters, children, friends, dear ones all, and we mourn what was. How much time has passed since last we met? How many joyous moments have we had to bear alone? How much we wish they could be with us again. The separation keenly felt recalls our loneliness and how we were left to fend for ourselves without their support, companionship, counsel, and love. Still, we miss their familiar voice, the feel and touch of their hand, their knowing smile, the twinkle in their eye, the sound of their laughter, and the understanding we shared expressed in a simple glance. We recall as if it were yesterday the heartache we felt when death took them, and the days and weeks when we realized how lonely life would be without them. We remember our sadness when they died and the yearning that comes with a broken heart. From time to time, the despair we thought we left behind returns. All this is natural, part and parcel of life's rhythms. We understand that despite heartbreak, time reduces the intensity of the hurt. As the days, weeks, months, and years pass, we understand the impact of death upon the living, its finality and inevitability, our fragility, how our hearts and minds stretch into unknown places. Elie Wiesel wrote, "Separation contains as much a mystery as meeting. In both cases, a door opens. In meeting, it opens on the future. In separation, on the past. It is the same door." Death ends life as we know it, but it doesn't end a relationship. We're here at this hour of Yizkor because even now, we have a relationship with those we loved who have preceded us to the grave. In this larger sense, none of us is alone, neither from God nor from our dead relatives and friends. Every day, and especially on this day, ours is the choice in how we remember the dead and how we live our lives. This choice is the core purpose of these days of awe. Do we confront life in its beauty or only see the gray? Do we remain in the past or move forward renewed as if reborn? So often we're distracted from choosing freely, seduced by irrelevancies. A story is told about a man who worked hard all his life, eking out a living. His livelihood came from working the fields for a pittance on behalf of a nobleman. One day, in a mood of magnanimity, his master said, "I would like to reward you for your faithful service all these years and set you free on a tract of land all your own. Therefore, I'll give you as much land as you can cover in one day. You can have only the land you will cover by going out and coming in during that day, from sunrise to sunset." Overjoyed, the man rose early the next morning and set out at the break of dawn. He walked as fast as he could, sometimes breaking into a run, then returning to a walk and breaking back into a run again. At times he felt as though he was being carried on the pinions of a great bird, so filled with excitement and expectation was he. He didn't stop to eat and drink, nor did he take a moment to sit by the side of the path and rest. As the day progressed and the sun rose burning overhead, it became warmer and then hotter. To cool himself, he took off his jacket and then his shirt. When he passed a group of large trees, he refused to stop to rest in their shade. He feared stopping because he knew that for every moment he rested, the size of his land parcel would be smaller. Soon it was well past midday and it was time for him to turn around, but he thought, if I walk a little bit more and then a little more, I will have even more land. Without realizing how the minutes and hours were passing, blinded by his ambition and the quest for more and more. The sun began to set. Fearing now that he'd lose everything, he turned around and ran with all the strength left in him. His fear turned to panic, lest he not return before sunset and all his efforts would end in vain. To make his run easier, he took off his undershirt, then his pants, then his shoes and socks. Running completely naked, the sweat poured from his body, his breathing got harder and harder, heavier and heavier. His feet were sore, and the pain in his legs became unbearable. His pace slowed. The sun was setting faster and faster, and soon it was almost beyond the horizon. He was not anywhere near where he'd begun that morning. Finally, his strength gave out, and he collapsed. He couldn't move, and he felt his heart giving way. He ached everywhere, and suddenly he was dead. At nightfall, when his faithful servant didn't return, the master went looking for him along the path. He didn't have to travel a very long distance. Not far from the village, he found his servant's body, and turning to his companions, he said, "What a pity. He was such a good and loyal servant. He was so eager to become wealthy. Now, give him enough ground for his grave. He has no need for anything more." So they buried him where he'd fallen and gave him all the land he'd ever need, enough for his grave. So often, we spend our lives this way as well, day after day, working and running, striving to acquire all the possessions and building our wealth and leaving little time for anything else. Our goal becomes so single-minded that we strip ourselves of our human qualities, much the way the loyal servant stripped himself of his garments. In the end, if we've ignored family, friends, community, our tradition and people, too busy running against the sun, we're overcome when evening falls and lonely. If we live differently, having shared our lives, time, love, possessions, wisdom, and understanding with family and friends, with community and people and country, we realize that we've acquired all we really need on this race course of our lives. It's then that we win the race against the sun. And at the end of our days, we die neither naked of all virtue, nor alone with only a grave to our name. Instead, we depart from the world fully dressed in the decent and kind deeds we perform, the love we've given, and the good name we've earned. Thankfully, there are many such people. How comforting for us to know that it's possible to live this way, and to know that many have lived their lives in balance. In these moments of Yizkor, we meet them again. We reunite in memory and recall how they impressed their love and concern upon us. It's at Yizkor that we draw upon the love we shared, are uplifted by the dreams we beheld, gladdened by the joys and fulfillment that made our love together so precious. Though they are gone, they are also with us, still, even as their souls continue on in the greater soul of God, one day to be reborn into life and hope again. Zichronam livracha, may their memories grace our lives always and be a source of blessing. Amen.